Okay. Mr. Spingaman, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our 6 distinguished senior public servants. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your service to the nation, and through you, my thanks also to your colleagues, the women and men that are in the field, keeping us safe day after day, who are not here today, but through you are represented here. I have 2 questions. One of them is specific, the other is more general. I'll start with the more specific one. In our ridings, I think many of us who are parliamentarians around the table and colleagues who are not here will have received questions over the past months on the issue of marijuana. I've had folks come to me from both the production side, people that are interested in holding licenses to produce medical marijuana, from the consumer side, people who are beneficiaries of medical marijuana, but also the pros and cons of the recreational side. And I'm wondering if you could give the committee and through the committee, the Canadian public, an update on the current status, the current legal status of marijuana.
Me?
Anybody who would like to comment? Anybody who has relevant information to give?
Thank you. Well, I can say that the current legal status is unchanged from where it was before the new government came into power. I can say that we've had a struggle in the police community broadly in terms of being discretionary in recognizing the stated objectives of the government while having to recognize the existing laws. In other words, the medical marijuana regime and frankly, the explosion of dispensaries in many cities across the country presents a number of technically challenging legal conundrums. And so we've, certainly us in the RCMP, have applied our discretion to enforce where circumstances are kind of exceeding the scope of the existing legislation around medical marijuana. In other words, aggressive marketing on the street, near schools, and so on. And some communities are even contemplating, taxing and licensing. And I might point out, just technically, not as a stated intention, there's an argument to be made that licensing some of these illegal dispensaries amounts to receiving proceeds of crime. So it's a bit of a mess right now, to be honest. And our approach has been to use our discretion at the front line to make decisions while the government sorts out their stated platform.
Is it fair to say that you have changed your enforcement strategy in the wake of recent platform policy announcements, or is it the same as it was a year and a half ago, let's say?
No, I would say it's fair to say that we've changed. We understand the platform, we understand the existing laws, but we also see a proliferation of patently unlawful behaviors that need to be held in check while we get to a point where a more sort of coherent legislative regime is in place.
Thank you for that. My second question, as I said, is a more general one. I'd like to address it to as many of you as would like to comment. And I think if we look back on this conversation this morning, what sort of connects all our questions and the answers that many of you gave is the idea of trust in our public institutions. The minister said we're balancing the provision of effective security against or with our charter rights. And when we do that well, we earn the trust of Canadians. So the maintenance of trust, the strengthening of trust in our public institutions, I think is unique, or not unique to public safety and security, but perhaps something that we should look at emphatically with respect to the area of public safety and security. And I'm wondering if each of you could comment briefly on how you are working to maintain and strengthen the trust of Canadians in the various organizations that you oversee.
Maybe I can say a few words to start. Trust is important for sure in the institution, and Canadians can step back and look at the portfolio partners and be convinced, and I mean that truthfully, that we are professional and we do our best. We wake up in the morning, we come to work to do a good job. And a good job means we're on all the time, because this business that we're in doesn't stop at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. The second point is that people are very lawful, very mindful of the legal framework in which we work. And I would say as well, it's a function of teamwork. You know, we work very closely with the commissioners' people when we need to. Commissioner Paulson, Michel Coulombe, the director of CSIS, we have ongoing discussions, relationships built on trust. So that trust inside projects outside in the sense of Canadians. I think that they can feel that we're doing our best to earn and keep their trust. And as I said, we work within the legal framework, and we work within the policies and the operational procedures that we give ourselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Guimont. 3 minutes